Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
ESPN Roundtable, Rivalry Week style. We got a couple former Bobcat and Grizzlies here, and they just happen to be teammates now with the Seattle Seahawks. Pretty fun reuniting with both these guys, two of our favorites here on Nuanez Now. Patrick O'Connell, former All-American linebacker for the University of Montana. Ty Okada, former Bobcat All-American safety, and now both with Seattle, living in Seattle. Boys, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you guys doing this.
No, absolutely.
So let's start with Ty. You've been back and forth bumping around on the active roster. Just give people sort of the update on you and just life in Seattle and what's it been like just sort of chasing this NFL dream.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blessing. Back on the practice squad now, had a recent elevation, got to play against the 49ers. Great to come away with a win there. And it's just been an absolute blessing to be able to represent Seattle as an organization and to keep, living out this dream that I think many of us had growing up playing football. And it's been an absolute blast.
And how about for you, Pat? Just same deal, just sort of chasing this thing and going back and forth, a lot of uncertainty, but also you guys were both active last week. So what's it been like for you, life in Seattle and also being a Seahawk?
Yeah, it's been great. Like Ty mentioned, it's a dream come true for me, especially just being a Seahawks fan growing up. I couldn't be more thankful for them for keeping me around, and I'm going to just keep going until the wheels fall off. So, like you said, we were both up for a big win against the 49ers, and hopefully that win kind of propels our season moving forward. So we're both really excited for where we're at.
Pat, I know you mentioned to me when you first got there that this was like a dream, right? Like, because you'd grown up a Seahawks fan. So when you first got the call and then you first walk in the locker room, like what's that moment like? And how do you sort of adjust and be like, okay, I'm not just a fan of these guys, like, holy cow, I'm on this team. These guys are my teammates.
Yeah, it was definitely a shock at first, but I told myself I was going in there for all business. I wasn't going to do any fanboying or anything, But yeah, it was definitely a dream come true walking in that locker room and just thinking about all the people that I watched growing up and how they've been in that same locker room in the same position that I've been in. I'm just trying to live out that dream every single day and work my tail off to stay around as long as I can.
So funny. I remember talking to Bladen McElmurray, former All-American safety for the Griz back in the 90s. And he grew up a huge Green Bay Packers fan. Then he gets signed to the Packers. He's like, my first day, my locker's next to Leroy Butler. Brett Favre's over here. He's like, I got to go get his autograph. And he's like, no, I can't go get his autograph. I'm on the same team as him. So same question for you though, Ty. Like, how do you sort of adjust to like, hey, I watched these guys on TV 6 months ago, and now I'm one of the guys on TV. I'm one of the guys in the locker room.
Yeah, I think, similar to Pat in our journeys being walk-ons, it's just more so that, that instinctual thing about us where it's like, we got to just put our heads down and work. It's awesome to get to that point, but what's the next step that we have to take in order to really fulfill the dreams and goals that we have set for ourselves and just locking into, taking it one step at a time and owning our role and trying to grow our role every single day.
Ty, what was your sort of welcome to the NFL moment? Was there like a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here, or oh my gosh, this is such a high level of competition? Like, what was sort of your here I am, I'm in the NFL moment?
Yeah, I look back on, for me, growing up in Minnesota, I was a big Vikings fan, and that was our first preseason game of our rookie year.
Wow,
and so
cool.
to be able to play them, that was a really surreal moment for myself, and getting to run down on that first kickoff. Laid a big hit on a guy, and it was just like, this is sweet. Like, this is not necessarily like we've made it, but it was a very cool moment to be able to play my hometown team. First preseason game ever of my career was a pretty surreal and welcome to the NFL type of moment.
Yeah, for you, Pat, what was yours?
I don't think it was a game or anything, but so we were there a couple weeks early before all the vets got there as rookies. And we had a meeting, and in walks, my favorite player of all time. It was Bobby Wagner. And he comes in the meeting room and he starts helping us out and watching tape with us. And he didn't have to be there, but he was, because that's the type of dude he is. Always trying to get better and always helping dudes. And when he came in, I was like, holy smokes. And that's just kind of the first time I was like, yeah, we're, like Ty said, you never think you made it, but it's just like that realization of that you're there and you can really do this.
Patrick O'Connell, Ty Okada joining us here on the ESPN Roundtable. A couple more questions about the NFL, then we'll get to this rivalry week and your guys' memories. But start with Pat. Just the transition to the NFL. There's such a team element to it, but it's also a business, and that's like so interesting to try to handle, especially when you're coming from great team environments like you guys both came from. So how do you sort of balance that, and how do you sort of like stay hungry and also embrace moments like that, like you're just talking about, Pat, with Bobby Wagner coming in there? Like, how do you balance, like, hey, I got to make this team, I got to make a living, but also, hey, this is a team, we got to fight for each other.
Yeah, I think you kind of said it there. That's the most important thing, is the balance. So, us, like Ty said earlier, we're both walk-ons, and then we're both undrafted guys. We have to go in and work our tails off every single day, and finding that balance of being able to compete every single day while still getting better and being able to help our team as much as we can and define a role for ourselves so that we can make our team better is kind of the most important thing for the position that we're in. And just find that balance of not being, not seeing yourself as a low guy, but knowing that you can help your team every single day is one of the most important things I think you can have in this league, because the more you can do, the harder you work, then the longer you're going to stay around. And I hope that people have seen that through me and Ty's work, because I know he works his tail off, and we're kind of there always competing every single day with each other, and we're always pushing each other. And I really appreciate, especially Ty, for that, because we're always, egging each other on to get better and better every single day.
Yeah, that's the craziest part too, right? Is that 53-man active roster. So like, if you're on the active, you're active. Like you're on the two deep. You're getting in the game probably. Like, you're probably covering a kick or at least doing something. So it's not like the same 110-man roster in college. For you, Ty, what's that adjustment been like? Trying to make sure you make the team, trying to make sure you keep getting a paycheck, but also buying into a team culture.
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of what Pat said, it's all about creating value for yourself. Like, how can you be, and Coach Mike hits on this a lot, how can you be a force multiplier for your team, right? And it's that balance of you're competing to be able to, get on the field, but at the same time, inherently, that's going to make your teammates better, everybody pushing each other to be better. And that'll just elevate everybody's plays if everybody's competing and guys are just finding ways and how they can grow their role and how they can be a force multiplier for their team is kind of what it's all about. So coming into the building every single day with a great work ethic and a mindset of how can I improve myself and own my 20 square feet, that's going to allow us to be a better team if everybody's taking that same approach. And that's how you can kind of balance, the team culture and, you bettering yourself. Inherently, that's going to help, grow the team as well.
Here at Five Valleys Restoration, your view is our view, and what a beautiful view it is. We are proud to be locally owned, locally operated. We love our community here in Missoula and also the full Five Valleys that we do service. We give back to the community, we service our community. Our kids go to school here, we live here, we play here.
Just being here in Missoula, just your guys' dedication to the Missoula community, why is that important?
5 or 6 years ago, we sat down and just kind of decided that this is the path we need to take if we're going to be a community-based business and support this community, and we want the support in return. We have to dive into it. So we did that. We've dove in. We like to support the youth of the community through sports and different organizations that support the youth in the community. But for the most part, we just made that dedication that as a locally owned company, with some of our competitors not being locally owned, we wanted to take that dive in and go after it.
And you guys have, like you said, attached yourselves to the sports world so much, the Griz and youth sports as well. Why is that part important to you?
I'm a big sports guy. I grew up hockey, baseball, football. Brothers all played sports. My daughter's a gymnast. My son's a hockey player. So it's in our blood too. But just knowing that that's how I've met. I coached our high school hockey team here in Missoula for 8 or 9 years, and I met so many great families, and I'm more proud now of the kids that I write reference letters for than I did of the state championships we won. I like guys that are like, hey, I'm going to be a pilot. Can you write me a reference letter? And I'm like, yeah, that's great. You bet. So I'm way more proud of that than I am of any wins or losses.
What have you thought of the way hockey has taken off in Missoula? There's great adult league. Griz hockey is booming now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys and gals that just dove into building it. And I came here 24 years ago, and when I started playing in the men's league, I think there were 8 teams total.
Now there's like 100.
There's 8 teams in every division, and there's 12 divisions. Yeah. It's great. We had, at one point, I know we had one of the 10th largest men's league, and I know guys like Trevor McLeod and that were out there really promoting it and growing it. And I think if we had a couple more sheets of ice, we could really blow it up even more. I'm not one that I can get up at 11 o'clock at night, play till 12:30, and then get up for work the next day. So I don't get to play in all the games. But yeah, it's taken off for sure for both boys and girls across this area. It's great.
And you guys are on the ground floor of this awesome experience too, because Seattle had this stalwart coach who's one of the most popular people in the entire world of football. And then Pete Carroll retires, and now you got the youngest coach in the entire NFL. But Mike Macdonald comes like so highly recommended, such a great resume. He did such a great job in Baltimore, doing a great job there in Seattle now. So, Ty, to start with that part, like, what do you think of just being sort of on this ground floor, but also thoughts on Coach Macdonald and just sort of the task he has in front of him, replacing a legend?
Yeah, it's an absolute blessing. You know, Coach Mike is so highly regarded, and his football knowledge is just through the roof. And the way he interacts with us and the team is it's been incredible to be a part of. And just to be in this position, it's a blessing.
And Pat, same thing for you. Like just not only playing for your sort of dream team, but also getting to be there with a new coaching staff and sort of earn your stripes there. What's that been like?
Yeah, I think it was amazing to be able to have one season with Pete at least. You know, just us growing up watching him and all the accomplishments that he had with his teams is truly something special. And honestly, some coaches and players will never reach the feats that they did as a team. And it was really cool to have him and see how he developed players and, you know, led people to success. And then on the flip side, obviously you got to start proving yourself to a new coaching staff. And I don't think there's anyone better for that than Coach Macdonald and his staff, because they're there to support us in any possible way. And like Ty said, the football knowledge is through the roof. And him as a coach, him as a leader, you know, it's top notch, and it's a great program that we're developing right now. And I'm so glad to be a part of not only Pete's, but now especially to be a part of Mike Macdonald's Seahawks.
Well, last NFL question. Patrick O'Connell, Ty Okada joining us here on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. Pat, you mentioned you guys kind of pushing each other forward, obviously on opposite sides of the rivalry, which we'll get to here in just a minute. But I know you guys have known each other and connected in other forms and fashions. And so just having a sort of a familiar face to go through this with, what's that been like? And when you say you're pushing each other, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's been great to have Ty with me on this journey. And like you said, we've been pushing each other to get better every single day, you know, whether that's in the weight room, whether it's on the practice field or in the film room. You know, I know Ty's always putting in the work, and it inspires me to go out and put the same amount of work in. And like I said, Ty's always working his tail off, and I'm trying to match the level that he's hitting. And I'm sure he's doing the same thing. Like you don't want your counterpart trying to always outwork you, but at the end of the day, me and Ty are close to best friends, and we're always going to hit, you know, recovery stuff together. We'll be in and the cold tubs, getting that stuff in too. So having a guy like him around has been a blessing to me, and because I know he's going to push me in everything that I do.
And Ty, like just having a shared mentality, that's such an important part of just life, right? Like you got to have friends with shared mentalities. You are who you hang out with, right? You are who your buddies are and who pushes you forward. So just having the sort of backstory connection with Pat, and then also having a familiar face, how's that help drive you?
Yeah, it's been an absolute blessing being around Pat and just seeing the way he works and how he approaches each day. I mean, he comes into the building, and when he beats me in the building, he's talking smack to me, talking about, hey man, you better start working and that's just kind of what I love about that is that's just how we hold each other accountable, right? And I know it's out of love from him because just like I want to see him succeed, he wants to see me succeed. And especially coming from super similar backgrounds, I think we just have so much mutual respect and just the work that we know that we both had to put in to get to this point, especially from where we started being walk-ons and then coming from smaller schools undrafted. It's just, I think there's such a level of respect there in terms of where we came from and what it took to get to where we're at. And we also don't, we're setting these goals and we're reaching these goals, but there's still so many more that I know we both have for ourselves and for each other. And we just want to see that, come to fruition. And so to be able to have a guy like Pat in the locker room that I'm so close with and someone that I know just like has that same work ethic is incredible, and it's a blessing.
University of Montana football is a way of life. Lithia Ford has long been a proud sponsor of Griz football, and Lithia Ford of Missoula is thrilled to have several of the best Montana football seniors driving the best trucks in Montana. Aspen Sound is the premier car audio and accessory shop in Montana. Aspen Sound makes sure the boys are riding in style with tinted windows and state-of-the-art stereo systems. There's always a party in Montana. Whether you're going to a concert, a wedding, or a football game, the Montana Party Bus will get you there. Skyline Sports and ESPN MT cover the Big Sky with more depth than anyone. Check out SkylineSportsMT.com and tune in to Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula every day. My Montana Roots and Wear Your Roots clothing is your go-to spot for the most unique and comfortable lifestyle clothing you'll find anywhere. And get your custom t-shirts to support your favorite player. From 5 local businesses who love Montana, best of luck to the Griz as they pursue another Big Sky Conference championship.
ESPN Roundtable here on Nuanez Now. Maybe you're watching on the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series or streaming on the Skyline Sports YouTube channel. Appreciate you tuning in no matter how you're here. We'll go back to you, Ty, and then we'll get to you, Pat, too, on the same question. Rivalry week in Montana, 123rd rendition. Pretty cool that's going down. But you mentioned right there, Ty, and you also mentioned it, Pat, that you guys are both walk-ons. And I think, to me, that's the reason I stay covering this level of football, because the stories are just so immense. They're so cool to see guys go from, no opportunities, limited opportunities. And look at you guys. You're both in the NFL, man. Like that's such a testament to you guys, but it's also a testament to like the story of football and how you can get better and so much better from when you're 18 years old to when you're 25, 26 years old. So, Ty, that's such a story in this rivalry too. Guys that have gone from nothing to everything. They have these great moments within this rivalry. So talk about that. Like why do you think that happens? Why do walk-ons thrive, especially so much within the Montana State ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's what is so special about this rivalry is because the state of Montana, you think of the culture of both of the programs and just the strong roots of the love and passion for this game of football. I think when guys go to a Montana State, they go to a Montana, it's guys that are so passionate about the sport of football, and they just want to give everything that they have to their school and represent their school and their state ultimately to the best of their ability. And whether that, doesn't quite come to fruition in the way that they see it, you know that especially a lot of small town Montana kids, when they get this opportunity, whether it be at Montana State or Montana, they take it and they try their best to just run with it and to represent whichever school they come from, represent the university that they're currently at, and to represent their state as a whole. You see it so much at both of those schools just because of the culture that's been set at both universities, and it's really special to see those things.
And Pat, you're like the quintessential example of that, right? Like a guy that grew up in Montana, Kalispell native. You go try the baseball thing out in North Dakota for a minute, but wanted to be a Griz, wanted to come back, wanted to prove yourself. So just take us through the journey and also your opinion on why guys like you, it's been the same story over and over again, guys that have been overlooked and under-recruited, but then they go on and become great players within the scope of the rivalry and just great players that make it to the highest level of football.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ty said it really well. There's so many guys out there that are overlooked or, labeled as undersized or, they can't do this, they can't do that. And that's kind of what drives them to want to be something great. And there's obviously a difference between wanting to do something and actually doing something. And when you go to such great programs like Montana and Montana State, where the staffs are excellent at developing people and, breeding them into what their program wants, then that's all you can ask for. They're going to sit there and they're going to go out and play their hardest in everything that they do. They're going to go in the weight room. They're going to compete in the weight room. They're going to compete in the classroom, compete in the film room, because that's what they're there for. And they know that. And they're trying to live up to something that everyone said that they couldn't be. And that's the biggest part is it's not even trying to prove other people wrong. It's really just trying to prove yourself right. And there's so many examples of that. And guys go out and they do it every single day. And, guys like myself, I had to go through a little journey to get to where I was. And, there's nothing better than reaching the top and being able to say that you did it. And like I said, I just went out and I was trying to prove myself right every single day.
I love that. And I love that dynamic too, right? I think it's such a great lesson just in the world of football. Cause I do feel like, there's the athletes that are just gifted everything in the world. Like you're 6'5", 275, like you're coming off the edge. You can do whatever you want. Those are like the 1%ers though, right? Like I really do think that you can go through the NFL and it's not just the walk-on guys at Montana State. It's walk-on guys, or not even walk-on guys, but guys that were underrated. I mean, look at J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt was a 2-star recruit who went to Central Michigan, transferred once, but he's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the greatest defensive player of our generation, or one of at least for sure. And that, I think that chip on your shoulder though drives you. I think that's such an important part of the story. Like oftentimes when you're handed everything, when you're the 5-star recruit, like look at the Elite 11 quarterbacks, right? Like how many of those guys go on to be amazing? Not that many. How many of the Baker Mayfields go on to be amazing, right? The Geno Smiths who get knocked down and then they come back and now here they are, right? So I don't know. Just talk about that part, Pat. Just the chip on your shoulder keeping you motivated.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is, all those guys you talked about and guys like Ty and myself, the chip on your shoulder, it never leaves. So the thing about that is you're going to carry that into every single thing you do, whether you're playing Yahtzee with your family, you're trying to beat your family in Yahtzee, whether you're lifting in the weight room, you're trying to beat your partner and everything that they're doing. That chip on your shoulder just doesn't leave. And when you have guys like that are willing to buy into programs, that are willing to buy into what coaches are saying, and they have a chip on their shoulder, they're going to go out and give you every single thing that they have every single day and everything that they do. And that chip never leaves. And those are the coolest stories of them all, because guys live their life like that. And like I say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's what you can do to compete every single day. And it's awesome to see guys like that.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road.
let's talk about the specifics of rivalry week then. Ty, we'll start with you. Preparing for this week, knowing this week is coming, and just experiencing it and soaking it all in. What's that like?
Yeah, and I think I can share definitely a little bit of a different perspective coming from out of state. You hear all about the rivalry when, you get on campus and just the absolute, love and passion that's behind this game. You don't truly know until you experience it. And just, you see your teammates. And for me, what I loved about it is you don't quite understand coming from out of state what that looks like. But then you can look to the left and right of you and see the Montana guys on your team and how much passion that they have for this game and what it means for them. And you're like, shoot, this is my brother. This is, the guy that I show up to work for every single day to the left and right of me. And I see the passion that they have and how important it is for them. And so you kind of get indoctrinated into that. And then when you experience it truly for yourself and just the love and passion that's behind this rivalry, it's extremely special. And to be introduced to that as an out-of-state guy coming into it, it was so surreal and just an awesome moment. For my first, Cat Griz rivalry, it was sweet. And so just having that perspective was amazing.
And Pat, you probably go way back just watching it and preparing for it and all that sort of stuff. But when you first got to the chance to prepare for it and you're realizing, oh my gosh, this game I've watched my whole life, here we go. Like, what was that whole journey like? What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, like you said, obviously growing up watching this rivalry every single day or every single year, it was on the top of our bucket list. I was sitting in the car driving home today thinking about Montana sports right now, and I was like, this is the biggest week for Montana sports. You got the championship coming up this week. Shout out to the Wolfpack.
Right, Glacier in the championship, so you're a Glacier alum. That's pretty cool.
And I'm like, and then after that, Saturday you got Cat Griz, and I'm like, this is literally what probably half of the state lives for. The high school championship, and then the rivalry game the next day, and it's one of the most special things because all those people care so much about their side, whether it be the Griz or the Cats, and they're cheering so hard for all that work that all the kids put in to get to this moment, and to be able to be a part of it is so special because I've seen it on both sides where obviously I've been a fan and then obviously going in and playing it. There's nothing like preparing for this game. And I think it was, who said it? Cardero Jones from Ohio State. He said, I didn't come here to play no school. And that's kind of how the week goes for this game. So it's pretty awesome.
Nuanez Now ESPN Radio. It's our ESPN Roundtable. Patrick O'Connell, Ty Okada joining us here, former Griz, former Bobcat, both playing for the Seattle Seahawks. And it's so true, right? Like it's the proximity bias defined. Mm-hmm. When you're sitting there in Seattle, there's 4.5 million people. A whole bunch of them care about the Seahawks. A whole bunch of them don't care about the Seahawks at all, right? In Montana, the vast majority of this state is going to be affected by this game on Saturday in one way or the other. Either they're going to be watching it, they're going to be going to it, they're going to have memories from it. Maybe they're skipping it because they're going to high school state championships, or they're just going to be avoiding the crowds one way or the other, one in town or the other. But either way, like it really is just sort of this cultural moment. It gives people in all these different small towns around Montana something to talk about all the time. And it really is a cool moment. So a couple more for you guys, and I'll get you out of here. First, start with Pat. Your best, your favorite, your most impactful rivalry game memory.
Well, obviously, while I was there, they got the best of us a few times, but we got one from them while I was playing, and there's nothing more special than after the game celebrating with your brothers after all that hard work you put in throughout the week, lifting that trophy up and having bragging rights for the whole year. There's nothing more special than that, knowing that all that hard work you put in came to fruition. And, it's just something that you can't really explain because it's so special, and it means so much to to you as an individual, to the team, and to the whole community and everyone who's supporting whatever side you're on. And I know, like I said, we got one while I was there, and that was one of the most special things that I've ever been a part of, just to be able to celebrate with my brothers and with my family, and being able to have that trophy right next to us every single day as we walk by it.
Well, and one follow up on that, because every Griz Cat, whatever, is a huge game, huge win. That 2021 game, though, had all sorts of different elements to it, because not only was it the opportunity for the Griz to snap a losing streak, which you did, but also we had missed this whole year of football because of the pandemic. So there was like all this buildup, and everybody's like, man, I can't believe we didn't get anything last year. Where are we at? It rerouted the rivalry. It rerouted like who's playing at home and who's playing away. Like it used to be even years in Missoula, odd years in Bozeman, and now it's the opposite because of that cancellation. So just the build up to that game, and then also just sort of the release that came from that game. Just talk about that.
Yeah, like you said, obviously you look on that trophy in 2020, there's nothing on it. Neither school's on there, and that's gonna be there forever. So the build up going into that game was crazy, because obviously they had got a new coach. He's kind of working into their program and everything, and just the build up behind that, it just felt like there was so much more buzz around that game, because we hadn't seen that rivalry in a couple years because of the pandemic and everything. And with that being said, it was just a different feeling, a different atmosphere in Wild Griz, and I couldn't be more thankful to be a part of a game like that. It was something special.
And then Ty, on your end, you're part of so many different iconic Montana State wins, whether it was the quote unquote miracle in Missoula, or the 2019 game with just the way you guys sort of ran roughshod. So take us through, what was your favorite memories?
Yeah, I would say the college game day was an extremely awesome one, to be able to put the smackdown on them, in front of a nationally televised game, and for college game day to come out there and just to show a lot of love to the state of Montana, for them to come out and kind of put a spotlight on the state and just how amazing this rivalry is and how important it is to the state. And, some of those memories are my favorite, but I would say, back to 2021, that would be one of my biggest memories, probably not my favorite by any means, but we had just gotten done building our whole new facility. We had this spot set up for the trophy where it's going to sit. Hopefully we're going to get 5 in a row. And all I remember coming back the next day after losing that game was looking at that empty trophy spot where that thing should go. And it's like the disappointment of just, wow, we had a really good team. The rivalry game, anything can happen, right? And so you think about how good our 2021 team was, and that loss ultimately did help propel us to the national championship. But seeing that empty trophy case in the new facility that we just built was like, man, we better come back and whoop their butt the next year. Because seeing that empty trophy case the first year it's built, that was pretty frustrating and very memorable.
Ty Okada,
yeah, we'll take credit for Tommy Millad's success.
we can thank you guys for that. That's true.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It altered everything in the state of Montana, no question. Patrick O'Connell, Ty Okada here on the ESPN Roundtable. All right, last thing for you guys. We'll start with Pat. Your take on this year's game. Montana coming off a win, had an up and down season, but certainly carries some momentum in, and seems like nothing to lose with Montana State riding on the high that they've been on. Your thoughts on this year's game?
Yeah, I haven't been as good as I was last year watching Montana, but I know they have some really good players and they have some really good coaches. And like Ty said earlier, this game, you could be freaking 0-10 going into it, and the other team would be 10-0, and it really doesn't matter because it's all about this one game. I know they have a really good team on the other side of this, and I know our guys are going to go in and fight their tails off just like they do every single game. I think it's going to be all about being able to tackle in this game and If we can get their guys on the ground, then they're gonna have a really good shot. But like I said, I haven't been too good at keeping up with watching them, but I keep up with the scores and everything. But like I said, I know one thing, that Bobby's teams are gonna go in there, they're gonna play their tails off. They're gonna be hard hitting. They're gonna have good special teams, and as long as the offense can keep the ball moving, then I think we'll be all right.
Ty, Montana State, a chance for history. Most wins in the Big Sky Conference in a regular season. Nobody's ever done 12-0. Chance for a second Big Sky title in 3 years, and keep it rolling. So what are your thoughts on the Cats and this game on Saturday?
Yeah, I texted some of the guys, and I already know that they know this, but I texted them. I was like, hey, if you think that they care that you're undefeated, they don't, right? And I know that their big motto this year, and especially under Coach Vegan, it's been 1-0 every single week. Like, just approach each week honestly like it's this week. And I think, to say that every week is the same as this would be doing this week a disservice, because it's not, right? And everybody knows that. And there's always a little heightened awareness for this game. But I think the way that the guys have been approaching each week, just growing on that every single week, and now with it being a Cat Griz rivalry, I'm just really excited for them to go out and, show all the work that they've been putting in this year. And I know that they'll come in incredibly prepared, and it should, the old line's going to be ready. They're going to come out, block their tails off. We got some good big backs back there. And, this guy named Tommy Malott, who's going to do his thing. So I'm looking forward for that.
Former Bobcat, Ty Okada, former Griz, Patrick O'Connell, joining us here on the ESPN Roundtable, current Seattle Seahawks. Gentlemen, appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much, and happy rivalry week.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having us. Go Griz.
Appreciate that. Go Cats. Shout out Greeby Ranch, Melstone, Montana.
Yeah, I didn't even ask you guys about your hats. You got the Greeby Ranch, Melstone, Montana here on this Zoom. Patrick O'Connell's got the copper and gold, Montana. So for those listening on the radio, you can find this on the Skyline Sports YouTube channel as well. And we appreciate you guys for being here. Thanks so much.